on informational text because on the FSA, it's going to be a big portion. Okay, you're going to have a lot of fiction stories and nonfiction stories. Now, nonfiction is what? What type of stories do you get when you have nonfiction? They are based on what?
On real facts.
On real facts, okay? Now, we are going to focus on 3 types of informational text. All 3 types are going to give you facts, okay? Now, nonfiction gives you information about real people, real places, and real events. And we know this as nonfiction or informational text. Okay, now, like I mentioned before, there are several types of informational text. We're going to focus on 3. How many?
3.
Okay, these are the most common. So, the first one is historical text. Now, what is the root word in historical? What word does it remind you of? History, okay? So historical texts are about real events and people from the past. So I want you to do a little side note. When you see or you hear about historical text, I want you to remember history, okay? Stories about history. And the way that you're going to know that they are about history is by focusing on the times and the dates or the pictures that they provide you, how the characters are dressed, the language that they use. Okay? So here it says, read these sentences from the textbook on American history. Circle the date. Underline the events that happened on that date. So I want you to focus on looking for a date and what major event happened on that date. Yes? Yeah. Okay. Let's all read it together. Ready, set, begin. The Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776. This document announced to the rest of the world that the American colonies would be a new country. What is the date there? Tell me.
July 4th, 1776.
Very good. And what major event happened on this date? Okay, tell me. Oh, nothing. Tell me.
This document announced to the rest of the world that the American colonies would be a new country.
Okay, that gives us information about the document, but is that what happened on July 4th, 1776?
Nope.
What exactly happened on that date?
The Declaration of Independence was signed on July 4th, 1776.
It was signed. The Declaration of Independence was signed. Yes, we go. Very good. And the date was this. Now, what you had mentioned was a detail that gave us information about what the document was. So if you didn't know what the Declaration of Independence was, this detail right here will give us that information. Make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we have scientific text, which is another type of informational text. What is the core word in scientific text? What will you think it's about?
Science.
Science. Very good. So scientific text gives information and ideas about scientific topics. Okay, this can be a story about planets, a story about plants. It can be, remember we read an experiment once? That's a scientific text. It told us the steps to follow. Those are all types of scientific text. So here, let's write a little note for yourselves. Okay, and I want you to write stories about science topics, okay? So going back, if you see a title of a story, Life in the American Colonies, would you say that that's a historical text or would you say that that's a scientific text?
That's historical.
Historical, right? Because we know that the American colonies It's not right now. It happened in the past. Now, if you run into a story that is titled "How Ants Build Their Ant Hills," what would you think it's the topic? Scientific, right? Because it has to do with ants, with animals, specifically insects, right? Now let's see what example we have. So, scientific texts may include scientific terms, sometimes bold print, images, and diagrams, which brings me to a very important point. This week, we're also going to be reviewing text features, because in nonfiction text, a lot of the authors provide text features, right? What are some examples of text feature?
Captions.
A caption, sequence,
A photograph.
photographs,
Title.
titles,
Subheadings.
subheadings. Those are all nonfiction texts, okay? They are in many nonfiction texts. So text features are nonfiction texts. You never want to skip them because they're going to give you questions about those text features most likely, okay? So it says, read the sentence from the science article about plants. Circle scientific terms. Okay, so everyone's gonna read it together. You are going to circle science words. Yes? Ready? Begin. Every living thing changes as it grows. This series of changes is called a life cycle. Most plants, for example, start life cycles as seeds. Stems sprout from the seeds. Then the leaves grow on the stems. The stems and the leaves grow taller, becoming an adult plant. Okay, what are some science words that you see there? Life cycle, very good. And it's also in what type of text feature?
Colored bold.
It's bold, right? Bold print. What other science words do you see there?
Life.
Sorry?
Life.
Life, very good. So we have life. What else?
Plants.
Plants. What else?
Leaves.
Leaves. Any more?
Becoming.
Okay, becoming is a transitional word. What are they becoming?
Becoming adult plants.
Adult plants, very good. Any other words?
Seeds.
Seeds. Stems. Grows. Very good. So there are many words that prove to us that this is a scientific text. Now there's another type of text. Okay, and this one is probably a little bit more difficult to decipher, but it's called a technical text. Okay? Now it's not technology, but it explains how things work and how to complete a task or project. Okay? Like steps, like a recipe, like a story about how to build a robot, or how does the Mars rover work in outer space. Okay? Anything that shows you how to use a specific item. Okay? Something specific, how to do something is a technical text. Yes?
Is it possible for a nonfiction text to have like two genres or have
Yes.
genres combined?
Yes, it is very possible.
Because I noticed that in the ant one that you used as an example, it could be scientific text and a technical text because there was steps.
Exactly. So that makes an excellent point. Sometimes in nonfiction, things are going to cross forward. It could be a history text, a historical text that is going to show us how the Indians built their teepees. Still historical, but still technical because it's showing us a step in process, right? Or, like she said, that we can have the ant story. It's scientific, but it's telling us how they built an ant hill.
So they're both.
So they're both. It can't be combined. Okay? Now, a technical text, I want you to remember technical by showing us how to do something. So technical text teaches us. Okay? Teaches us experiment can be a technical text in reality, because it gives us steps to do, procedures, it gives us an outcome, okay? Now, a technical test may be a list that describes the steps a person must follow or carry out a project. Read the sentence from this technical article about bicycles. Circle the words that show the order in which steps should be completed. If it's going to show us the order of steps that should be completed, what signal words are you going to be looking for?
First, then last.
And what does that show us? What tense structure?
Sequence.
Sequence. Very good. So let's see. To ride a bike, first sit on the seat. Second, hold on to the handlebars. Third, push off the ground and start pedaling. This makes the wheels turn and the bike move. What are some signal words there? Second. Third. First. Very good.
There's also another one.
Tell me.
Start.
Okay, start. Yeah, that's can show us that it's a next step. Okay? Now, when you might get any of these types of texts, right? But it's very, very, very important that when you're reading these types of texts, that you ask yourself questions. Okay? Good readers ask themselves questions or take little notes. Take side notes. Remember when we talked about flagging our reading? When we love it, you can put like a heart. When you have a question, you can put a question mark. When you read those questions first, right? And then you're reading, you're like, oh, there's a question about this. You can add an exclamation mark, right? Those are all side notes to help you later when you go back to answer the questions, yes? Good readers do these things because it helps you analyze the story. It helps you make sure that you're understanding what you're reading, right? So, asking and answering questions while you read, make sure that you understand a text. You should ask questions like who, what, when, where, and then. Okay? Sometimes when you're looking for an answer, it's gonna be explicit or clearly stated. That's like the evidence that we find that we're like, okay, let me highlight it, right? But sometimes you need to put the facts and details together to come up with a good answer. Sometimes it's not gonna say, it rained yesterday. And then you're, oh, the answer is it rained yesterday. Sometimes it's gonna say, bye. Sometimes it's gonna say, oh, it was a cloudy day. The wind was blowing. It looked like a tornado was going to pass by. Or a hurricane just passed by. Those all show us.
Can somebody stay here and finish something?
Yes.
Go, sit.
So, what's gonna happen is all those details show you that it possibly rained yesterday, right? Did it say it rained yesterday? No. The details gave you clues to say, oh well, all of those clues, the cloudy day, the windy wind, how it looked like a storm just passed by, all prove that most likely it was a very good. That's a way of using the details and the clues in order to support your evidence, right? But look what it says here, and I'm gonna put it in red. I want everyone to read it out loud for me. Ready, set, go. Either way, you use text evidence to support your answer. Very good. So, let's go ahead and we're going to read this historical text. So if it's a historical text, most likely we know that it's based in history, in the past. Okay? Now, we're going to read the historical text and then we're going to follow the steps to answer the questions. Capiche? Okay, I'm going to read it for you. Jackie Robinson was a great baseball player. In 1947, Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers in Brooklyn, New York. He was the first African-American player in Major League Baseball. Some people didn't want him on the team. Robinson refused to give up. His courage made people think about the importance of treating everyone equally. So, First it says circle or the words or phrases that answers the question. Who is this about? Just raise your hand. Tell me.
Jackson Roberts.
Jackie Robinson. Boom. Jackie Robinson. Okay, what happened? What is the major event that happened in this little passage?
Some people did not want him to want him on the team.
Okay, but is that the main thing that happened? What happened in the story? You didn't want him on the team, but something had to happen in order for this to happen, for that to be the effect.
Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers in Brooklyn, New York.
Ooh, in 1947, Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. Okay, when did this happen?
1947.
1947. So we also recircle it. Okay, when did it happen? Oh, sorry, we just did that one. Where did it happen? In New York. Brooklyn, New York. Okay? Now let's fill out the chart. Who we know is? Jackie Robinson. When? 1947. Where?
New York.
New York. So let's put New York. Now it says what happened. If you notice, there are many things that happened, right? The details. The main thing was that Robinson joined the Brooklyn Dodgers. What else happens? Now tell me.
They didn't want him on the team.
Very good. Many people did not want him on the team. If we go back to the story, some people did not want him on the team. Evidence. Now, what is something else that happened?
He was the first
Yes. So because he was the first African American player, give me 1 second. He was the first African American player. People didn't want him on the team. But what's something else that happens?
He entered the major leagues of baseball.
Yes, that's right here. Robinson joined Brooklyn Dodgers. That's the Major League Baseball team. What else happens?
His courage made him think about the importance of treating everyone equally.
Very good. Let's look before. It says Robinson refused to give up. Okay? So Robinson refused to give up and he kept playing baseball no matter what they said. So let's write that.
So the courage.
Robinson refused to give up. Okay? Right here. Now let's look at this, already underlined it. How did Jackie Robinson's action affect others? Because he didn't give up, how did his actions affect others?
To encourage people to think about the importance of treating everyone equally.
So that would be this answer right here. So Jackie actions, okay, encourage people to think about the importance of treating everyone equally, right? The importance of treating everyone equally. Okay? And again, all of our answers were back in the story. So it's very important to do what?
Go back.
Look back. Correct? Any questions?
No.
Good.